In this video, I'm going to teach you how to carry out the procedure for lab number 30, absolute dating and radioactive decay. I'm also going to show you how to create a line graph using Google Sheets after you collect your data from the lab. So first, this starts off as a very standard lab where you're going to read the introduction, objectives, and then you're going to complete your vocabulary. Then, once you get to the procedure, you'll notice that there is a link that we have to click on. So I'm going to click on that link, and it's going to bring me to a virtual radioactive decay simulator. In this simulator, there are 4 radioactive elements that you're going to investigate. If you click on this drop-down menu, you'll see that we have elements A, B, C, and D. You're going to go through a simulation of all 4 of these elements throughout this activity. This example video is going to show you a little bit of how to complete the information for element A. So to start, I want you to notice that within this simulation, there are 100 atoms that you are starting with. And that's going to be the same for all 4 radioactive elements. You're always starting with 100 atoms. Attached to this assignment on Google Classroom is a spreadsheet where you're going to actually collect all of your data. Within this spreadsheet, you'll notice at the bottom that you have tabs for element A, B, C, D, and then there's one for the example video that will be gone once you see your spreadsheet. You'll just have elements A through D. We're going to start with element A, and you'll notice that the element is color-coded for what color you see in the animation. So here, for example, is purple. You'll notice I already filled out part of the chart for you, because at time 0, before we even begin the simulation, we have 100 atoms of element A. So what you do now is we're going to simulate every 1,000 years of decay up to 20,000 years. So if you click on this calendar, we're going to simulate 1,000 years have just gone by. And if we take the magnifying glass and click on that, after 1,000 years have passed, we have 95 atoms of element A remaining. So what you're going to do is go to your data sheet. So after 1,000 years, I'm going to type in that there's 95 atoms remaining. If I go back to my simulation, once again, I click the calendar. So another 1,000 years have passed. So in total, 2,000 years have gone by. And if we click the magnifying glass, we know that there's 90 atoms left after 2,000 years. So let's do one more for this example. You click on the calendar, another 1,000 years have gone by. So that's 3,000 years total. Click on the magnifying glass, and now there's 86 atoms remaining of element A. So you're going to repeat this process until you fill out the remainder of this data table up to 20,000 years. You're also going to repeat this process for elements B, C, and D. And I want you all to note that every simulation is different. So you can run the simulation for element A, and then your friend runs the simulation for element A, and you're going to have different numbers. Many of you are going to have different numbers for element A than I just showed you in this example. So please be mindful that these numbers will be unique to whoever is running the simulation at that time. So I'm going to go down to this tab where I have video example because I want to show you a final product. These are all fake numbers. I completely made this up, so no simulation will give you these values. So just please understand that these are all made up numbers. What I want to do here is show you once you collect your data, you need to graph it. So I'm going to teach you how to create a line graph using this program of Google Sheets. The first step is to click on the very first cell within the data table, which is time in years. If you click it and drag, you want to highlight all of your data values. Once you do that, you go to the top and click Insert, and then you click on Chart. And a nice line graph is going to appear, just like that. But what we want to do now is customize this graph because there are some components in this graph that you need to make sure exist. And you also have the opportunity to make this graph look a lot nicer and more professional. So over to the right, you're going to see a chart editor pop up. I'm going to click on Customize. The first thing you can do is change the chart style, and that's playing around with the colors of the chart. So you can actually change the font that's used within the chart. You can also change the background color. You can make it black if you want to. I would stay away from any bright colors. I would stay on the black, gray, and white color scale to maintain professionalism. So I wouldn't go with any other colors other than black, gray, or white. You can even change the border color of the graph. So you can play around with these to make the graph your own. The next section is very important because you can change the chart and axis titles here. So the first thing I want to do is click on the menu and click on chart title. I'm going to change this. They defaulted the title based on what the titles of my columns in my spreadsheet were, but I'm going to change this to Radioactive Decay of Element A. And once you click out of the box, you'll notice that the title are immediately changed within the graph. So I'm going to also make this graph my own. I'm going to bold my title. I'm going to center it. I'm even going to change the font size, make the title a little bit larger. And if you want, you can even change the color of your title. So again, you can play around with the different colors and fonts, but remember, you want to keep your graph professional. If you click on the menu again for the chart and axis titles, you can go to horizontal axis title. Horizontal axis refers to your x-axis. And I like the title that's there, time, parentheses, years. That's exactly what I need my label to be. So all I'm going to do is just change the font to make it a little bit bigger so the label stands out a little bit more. Same thing, vertical axis corresponds to the y-axis. I like the label that's there, number of atoms remaining. I don't need a unit because the unit is just the number that's there. But I am going to bold it and I am going to make the font a little bit larger. Now that I'm done with that section, I'm going to close that out and I can go look at some other options. Series. Here, you can change the color of the line in the graph. So if you like the color that's there, that's fine. If you want to change it, just going with the purple theme for element A, I'm going to make the line color purple. And something else you can do is you can actually put points on this graph. Right now it's just a line showing the general trend. You can take this and you can put different points by changing the point size. And you'll see on the graph now I have different points that have shown up. And you can even change the point shape. I wouldn't do anything other than a circle. Just again, you want to make your graph professional looking. Putting other shapes is going to make it look unprofessional. You can also keep going down. Legend we don't need to worry about because we only have one line on this graph. If we had multiple lines on this graph, legend would be important. Horizontal axis, this refers to the x-axis, and that's changing the font information on there. So you have options to change the color of the font. And again, you can make this graph your own and change these, but remember to keep it nice and professional. Same thing for vertical axis. You have the options to do that as well. So at this point, you have completed a graph successfully in Google Sheets. But what you need to make sure you do is, within the analysis questions of this lab, I'm asking you to insert copies of these graphs so that I can see them within your lab document as I'm grading it. So what you can do is you can copy and paste the chart. If I go down to the bottom of the lab where you see analysis questions, you'll see insert a copy of the graph you created to show the radioactive decay of element A in the blank space below this question. So I'm going to paste it in, and I have an option to have my chart that I created linked to the spreadsheet, or you can paste it unlinked. I'm going to link it to the spreadsheet because if you actually make any changes on that spreadsheet, it'll automatically update within your Google document since they are linked. And here we go. I just answered question 1. Here is a graph of my radioactive decay for element A. I want you also to note that I gave written instructions on how to create a graph in Google Sheets if you want to access that as well. And if you have any questions while completing this lab, don't hesitate to reach out. It's very, very important to remember that you're doing this process for element A, B, C, and D. So you're going to have 4 completed data tables, 4 completed graphs, and each one of them is going to be different from one another. Good luck, and again, please reach out if you have any questions.